This is the Bat Flip Podcast. Now here's your host, Damien, David, and Matt.
Long time no see, everyone. Welcome back to another Bat Flip Entertainment Quick Flip episode. We were just here, 10 minutes ago doing the podcast. And after we got off, then Devin Williams decided to sign a 3-year, $51 million deal with the New York Mets. This is something I had told David was we were potentially going to get a move within the next day or two. I didn't think it was going to be 10 minutes after we got off recording the podcast. Impeccable timing, I guess. But I literally hadn't even uploaded the audio file yet for the podcast. So here we are. But Devin Williams did sign has agreed to a 3-year, $51 million deal with the New York Mets now. It's going to be interesting to see what this means for the long-term relationship with Edwin Diaz. There's reports saying the Mets are still interested in it, that Williams would be willing to do a setup role there or go like a dual closer role, something there. Don't know how Edwin Diaz would feel about that. But this might set up a domino effect of Edwin Diaz going somewhere else. We've heard about interest from Dodgers, Blue Jays, other big market teams. I severely undershot the market here looking at the Devin Williams deal. I said he was going to get 1 year's $12 million. I in fact was not correct on that. But David, what do you think about the Mets signing Devin Williams here?
Well, first of all, I think this is a one of them deals, one of them Dodgery deals where you've got a whole lot of deferred money kicking this total value down significantly. $5 million are getting it per year is getting deferred for like 10 years after this. So that's bringing that value down fairly significantly. Then you also have the $6 million bonus, like the signing bonus that's getting cut between all 3 of the years as well. It's kind of looking like it's like more like a 3 years, like 36 is kind of how I'm reading this, is like the true market value. But even still, guaranteeing 3 years to a guy who just struggled to a 4+ ERA, despite having a really good, FIP, he had really good metrics. Devin Williams, and has the reputation of being one of the league's best closers. Committing 3 years to this guy is one, it's a power move by the Mets, right? Because they can do this, they can afford to do this. But two, I mean, you mentioned it. I think it's we don't need you, Edwin Diaz, for the money you're asking for at the moment type of move.
Well, here's the thing: the 3 years before this, Edwin Diaz had under a 2 ERA, right? And the peripherals consistently back that up too. But who's the Pobo for the New York Mets?
It's David Stearns.
David Stearns. I wonder who brought Devin Williams into Milwaukee.
David
Stearns. Him as a closer. David Stearns. If there's anyone that knows Edwin Diaz, or not Diaz, Devin Williams, it's David Stearns.
Yep.
So, and if anyone knows about Devin Williams in a setup role, potentially, it would be David Stearns. So,
right.
This just tells me that he wanted to, regardless. I think what happened is I think the Devin Williams market was moving. And I don't think the Edwin Diaz market is near a conclusion. I don't think he wanted to be left out without getting a reliever.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is I keep wanting to say Edwin Diaz. We get Devin Williams and we're set up for whatever happens with Edwin Diaz. We bring him back, fantastic, great. We have an elite back end of the bullpen. We don't get him, we have an elite guy that can close now. We would figure out the rest of it from there. So initially I was really concerned about they're going to do the whole look at his ERA and not going to bounce back. Smart enough people now, right? I really undershot it there. I thought he would take somewhat of a 1-year deal, bounce back, go from there. But if you're getting $50 million, this is a really great deal. And like you mentioned, we were just talking on the podcast about we're expecting the reliever market to move. Let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be very interesting here. This just threw a whole nother monkey wrench into the plans because I think we all had Edwin Diaz going back to the Mets. That might happen, but now it looks more likely than not that it won't happen because they won't be forced to go to the $100 million number for Edwin Diaz if they don't have to.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the current projection for their bullpen right now. It's not great. Fangraphs has already speedily updated Devin Williams into their projection, but right now, the other relievers there are Huskar Brazaban, AJ Minter, Brooks Raley. They're expecting Edward Alzolay to bounce back from Tommy John surgery and be pretty good in their Mets bullpen right now. It's a lot of question marks. Devin Williams is a start. They can for sure use another big name reliever in this bullpen. There's space for Edwin Diaz, but it's like you mentioned, they don't have to go crazy for Edwin Diaz now. If we talked about it literally 20 minutes ago, the Mets money situation. It's a matter of whether or not the Mets need to save money, or if they're Steve Cohen, we expect him to be willing to throw down in order to solve not getting into the playoffs last season, having the big collapse and going only to 83 wins, missing the playoffs. We expect the Mets to make big moves. This is a big move. But again, the thing I draw to initially, you talked about how we've undershot this. This is the third deal where a pitcher has gotten more money than we were expecting based on a FIP in an advanced metric. And I am very curious to see how this reacts after the fact. How do these deals, Ryan Helsley, Dylan Cease, now Devin Williams, all of them had bad years in 2025, objectively bad years. The metrics, however, leaned that they had good process.
Right.
These deals are all showing that teams are valuing that process. They're valuing, hey, sometimes stuff happens and your ERA gets inflated. We don't really care about that. That's what they're saying. Fine. I want to see these deals show, that these teams are correct or not, right? I would be very interested to see what Devin Williams continues to struggle. That ERA stays up at 4.5. The FIP might stay down, but if the reliever himself keeps giving up runs, it's just you're paying really this is a multi-million-dollar deal for the next 20 years, basically, is what this is, which is
a bunch of the deferred money.
With today's deferral contracts, you got to get these in now. I think there's a possibility these are one of the things that gets wiped off the board in the next CBA next offseason.
We'll see. They're
going to be right, but they're going to be paying this for 20 years. It's a commitment to a guy that again was bad last year, but is historically pretty good. And I think you and I both believe that Devin Williams will recoup. You picked him to the Dodgers. You feel like this is the type of guy that can turn it around. The changeup is one of the best changeups in baseball. This is a really good reliever. So,
the Dodgers have had long-standing interest in Devin Williams. They thought they traded for him last year before the Yankees got him. I'm sure they were probably in the market for him here. I thought that they would definitely do a bounce back, especially if it was a 1-year deal. That's why I predicted him to go. But I do think Devin Williams is still a good pitcher. And I think this deal will be perfectly fine for them. I think he'll bounce back just fine. Also, going from Yankee Stadium, it's a notorious tough place to pitch anyways. So we'll see. The David Stearns, right, has built rosters before on having 2 elite back end arms. Josh Hader, Devin Williams, right? He tried to do it this year with Edwin Diaz and Ryan Helsley at the trade deadline. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go get some sort of, if it's not Edwin Diaz, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go get a different high leverage back end arm for the bullpen anyways. I think this Edwin Diaz deal is fine. Like I said, I undershot it, but if we were doing the free agency predictions at this point, or like say yesterday, I would have said Edwin Diaz was going to get probably upwards of $40 million on the deal. I just, at the time, I didn't know what the reliever market was going to be. I thought, hey, it's going to be really subdued for what we were at, but
you're killing me with the Edwin Diaz and Devin Williams mix-ups here.
Dude, I don't know what's
Devin
going
Williams. He's talking about Devin Williams, I promise.
on. I don't know what's going on with me today with that. I've done it every time.
Right. I think, honest, Matt hit it. He hit 3 for 45 for Devin Williams. That's kind of what this deal is a 3 for 45. It's more like a 3 to 51 with the 2 years signing bonus doled out, but then you have to subtract out this deferred money. It's a weird deal. I don't know how we're going to score it. I'm probably just going to give Matt full points and go on. That seems like the way to go because he was the closest on it anyway.
Probably.
But, in terms of how this shapes things, they said it's possible to bring Edwin Diaz back in. The thing you mentioned right at the beginning of the show, that I don't know if his ego, I don't know if the mindset will change.
Well,
are you okay with going in and sharing the role?
Well, that's if you're trying to do some shared closer role. Like Devin Williams has shown before, he's great. He's an elite setup guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they say, Diaz, you are the closer, then yes, he would go back. If they do this whole which we've seen Diaz pitch in the 8th, we've seen him do that before. I don't think it would, but if they say straight up come in and say, hey, you guys are going to basically do a shared closer role, I don't know. If you bring him in as your closer and then they say, hey, but here's the thing, they didn't have a guy like Devin Williams before, right? If they had the role, they brought it in and say, hey, we need you in the 7th inning. There's this big fire you need you to put out. Go in there. I think it'd be fine. But then again, at that point, you could just go, okay, well, we have Devin Williams. Just put him out there. Let him put out the fire and move on. So I think it's interesting.
Yeah, there's the ever-changing dichotomy between baseball players themselves who want to be placed in the 9th inning. The closer wants to be the closer. He wants to close the game. There's that versus the current baseball format of outgetters. The Dodgers just used this to win the World Series, basically, right? It's, hey, we need you to get outs. Who's getting outs?
They count outs.
It could be the starting pitchers. It could be the relievers. It could be the closer. It could be whoever. But we need outs, and we need the best pitchers pitching in the highest leverage situations, regardless of anything else. So you saw it a lot, and you saw it how the Dodgers managed the postseason. The Mets have a wealth of pitching depth. Right now, they have very little by way of strength in the upside of both at the back end of the bullpen and the rotation. And that's what this offseason, I think you and I both have predicted them to land high-end starting pitching and high-end closers. That's what we expected, right? The depth is there, but the elite top-end stuff hasn't been there. Devin Williams is unequivocally an elite top-end arm. The Mets have stepped into that pool now. Do they continue? Do they have to pivot off of Edwin Diaz? Does Edwin Diaz take slight to this? I don't know, but the initial reports are that Edwin Diaz is still a possibility for the Mets. I think we just have to accept that as fact, that he just doesn't want to leave, and that nobody else is going to pay him $25 million a year. That's what he's going to be asking for.
We'll see. I mean, if you told me today to say, I would say Edwin Diaz is probably at this point more likely to leave than he is to come back. But I'm not closing the door. I would say it'd be 45 to 55. 45 leave, 55 come back. I think it's close. But
I just don't know who else is going to pay him. The Dodgers, maybe.
Dodgers, Jays, Blue Jays may. They've been willing to do it before.
Both of those teams have paid for relievers, for a multi-year deal for relievers that kind of didn't work out.
But I mean, we say they didn't work out, but then they were both in the World Series against each other. So did it really matter?
Yeah.
I understand it, but I wonder if they maybe go hey, instead of an Edwin Diaz, maybe let's go sign Robert Suarez or Pete Fairbanks and do that, and then put the money. You know what I mean? Maybe not go so big on Edwin Diaz. I said it right that time, but then go to another guy who has closing experience, but also setup guy, so they could do this whole mix matchy thing back there anyway. So it's going to be interesting to play out. We'll see if we get off this one, and then 10 minutes later there'll be another one that we can come back on and maybe make whole sense of this again. But thank you guys for tuning into this Quick Flips episode, and we'll catch you guys back on the next one.